I'm Lisa Reinertson. I'm the sculptor that did the Joan Didion sculpture that is in the library in downtown Sacramento in the reading room. And in the process of creating that sculpture, I developed some smaller scale maquettes to develop my idea. And also I did a bust that was a study of her face. So these were all done in order to prepare myself to get the big sculpture to be where I want it to be. So they're working studies, yes.
How long did the whole process take? And just talk a little bit about, the process of doing that.
Okay. Well, I will start off that Maurice Reed contacted me and told me that he wanted there to be a life-size sculpture of Joan Didion in the reading room because when he and Joan and Joan's college boyfriend were all young, they would study together in the reading room in the Sacramento library. And he thought it would be a great idea to have her just sitting there in the library. So that was the beginning. And I actually knew Maurice Reed. I grew up in Sacramento. He and my parents knew each other through some political work they've done together. So I thought that sounded like a wonderful project to take on. So that was the beginning of this project. And so often it's about a year from when I start a project to, or get the contract for a project to the time I can complete it. Well, the first thing I do is I read as many of the books I could that Joan and her essays. I read lots and lots of Joan Didion, and I gathered as many photos as I could. And of course, there's everything from, you can see the photos here, the age she was when she was studying in that library, which Maurice originally wanted. And I thought, no one will recognize this, 18-year-old girl as Joan Didion. And I thought, let's do her at an iconic age that she might be remembered once she was more successful. So I did her when she was more in her 30s, really, 30s, 40s. So I do just a ton of homework. I gather lots of materials. I do a lot of reading. And from those images, I start developing sketches. I had models come and pose for me that had similar build, petite, thin models. A couple different people that came and posed that I did drawings and then superimposed Didion's face on those drawings. So it's a long process of developing the idea. What I didn't want to put her just in a regular chair in the library for a lot of reasons, let alone that it could break. But I said I needed to sculpt the chair. So we actually brought a chair from the library to my studio, and I sculpted something similar to what that chair was. But I kept the panels solid between the legs, and that gave me a place. You can come and see this. There's to do images in relief on those panels. So there's a snake here, which if you look at some of the writings here, the rattlesnake was something that she spoke of and came up frequently in her work. Unfortunately, the way this mirror is, there's bas relief image on the back of the chair. The top is an image that's Donner Lake, about the whole history connected to her pioneer family. And the one in the library in Sacramento, downtown, there's images of the typewriter and things having to do with her being a writer. And that's something I've done in a lot of my work where I've incorporated narrative images in relief that kind of help tell the story of the overall portrait. Like I did the sculpture of Cesar Chavez in downtown Sacramento where I incorporated images having to do with the march that happened from Delano to Sacramento, and then images it's almost like a mural on the other side. So that's something that I've tried to incorporate into my portraiture.
One question about the Historical Society. Just talk about what their role is in all of everything.
When Maurice Reed got the idea of doing this, he contacted Greg Lukenbill, and the two of them together created the fundraising through the Sacramento Historical Society to pay for the final piece that went to the library downtown. And in the process, they saw that I had done these other pieces, and there was a desire to have them. And usually I keep my own maquettes and studies. They weren't intended for that purpose. But I actually, once there was an interest in the bust, because it wasn't complete when I was first asked about it, they wanted to purchase the bust. So I completed the bust in order to be purchased here for Sac City College. And this bust, it's actually from an image when she wrote Slouching Towards Bethlehem, which was an early image. So it's actually from a photo of her being sort of an investigative journalist of sorts at Haight-Ashbury. So this is a quite young version of her. And then this maquette I ended up gifting to Sac City College.
So when you see your two pieces here in the context of this whole display, I mean, what hits you?
Well, I think they did a lovely job with the display. I wasn't sure when I had the description of them being on shelves in the library. This is not what I imagined. This is much nicer than what the description was. No, I think it's lovely. And, mostly I love that it's honoring Didion's original college experience of coming to Sac City College. I think there's a lot of people that can relate to needing to get that first experience at a college and then step off from there, that she went to UC Berkeley after this. So I think acknowledging that she started her college education here is wonderful. I think the fact that there's funds that are dedicated to students, and I guess there's a faculty position that's under her name that's funded. I think they did a beautiful job. I heard that it was a design student that was the lead on putting all of this together. I came in immediately, saw a lot of photos, and was like, oh, I found all those photos when I was working on my project. So these are things that I saw and utilized to come up with my final piece too.